A motion by Helmut.
Welcome to Minutes by Minute. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
And we're here to talk about what goes on in the village, the township. You know, those individuals, those people that make laws and regulations that affect you out there.
That's right, Elgin. And whether you live in the village of Oxford, the village of Leonard, Addison Township, or Oxford Township, these are the people that you went and elected. And the committees and the commissions that make decisions that affect you out there, whether you chose to go to that meeting or not, and the result of you not voicing your opinion could be a taxing situation.
Or catastrophic.
Catastrophic.
In some ways, could be. Because, you know, in every meeting we found that there's humor, and it either lies at the top or on the very bottom, like a
That's right.
bottom feeder.
Not to mention its close relative,
Rumor.
Rumor.
Right. And by the way, one of us spreads the rumors a little more than the other one.
Nice try.
Yeah, and he spreads it pretty good. So anyway, we've got a number of meetings we want to talk about today, and the first one we're going to talk about is the Leonard Village Council meeting was held on May 14th. The second one we want to talk about is the Oxford Area Cable Communications Commission meeting, which was held on May 21st. Now you resemble that one a bit, don't you?
Well, yes, I attended it.
Okay, very good. Well, let's get on with the Leonard Village Council meeting. Of course, Mike McDonald is the president of the Village Council. Mike McDonald does a great job, by the way. Trustees are Shar Southerby, Paul Almoranti, Larry Hoffman, and Alexander Kennedy.
Right.
And present also at that meeting was the clerk, Cindy Groskoff, and of course the treasurer, Judy Verse. And those girls do a great job, you know,
Yep.
for you folks out there. They, of course, did the pledge and invocation, and then they approved the minutes for April 9th, 2018. Then they went on to the agenda, other issues. One item that they wanted to remove from the new business was, remember last week we talked about the chlorine cost that they had to do for the roads? out in that area?
Chlorine or calcium?
No, chlorine, chloride treatment.
Chloride, calcium chloride.
Yeah, that, one of those, yeah. Remember, we did talk about that, right?
Yeah.
And they did work on it back.
We eventually arrived at the right chemical.
We did. Last month, they did discuss it, and it was all taken care of in terms of the cost. So anyway, at this time, Mike McDonald asked for this to be removed since it was on the agenda. Okay,
Right.
good enough.
Yeah.
So next thing they did is treasurer's report, received and filed, all approved. Bills. Now remember, they have several categories
Right,
that they
right.
pay out of. One is the general fund, and one is the major fund. The other is a local fund. And then, of course, there's the Mill Park and
And
Recreation
sometimes
Fund.
they take from Peter to pay Paul.
They do that sometimes, yes. But usually out of the general fund, usually that would occur. General fund in this case was $34,713.66. Major fund was $2,652.25. Local fund was $79.75. Of course, the Mill Park building and the recreation, there was nothing removed from there. Usually that's pretty standard.
Yeah.
But the summer's
How's the
coming.
mill coming along, by the way?
Well, they could use volunteers over there.
Okay.
So you folks feel like you'd like to pitch in and give them a hand. Although I want to say, Leonard people and Addison Township people, they do pitch in. And but contact the Township Hall and find out when their next work session is going to be held. Shar Southerby is also a good contact over there, and you can find her almost involved in every aspect of what
In its
goes on in
heyday,
Leonard.
was that old mill a water-driven thing?
I believe it was way back then. That's when the tide was way up above your neck. It is low ground. And one of the issues that they did talk about, of course, was drainage over there. I mean, if you build a town on pretty much flat water land, it could be an issue, right? Does good for blueberries, though.
No,
That
they
kind of
all live
thing,
up there in
right?
Florida.
Yeah, right. So anyway, they asked for public comment, and of course, not on the agenda. And there were a couple questions actually came from the audience. One question concerned the funds. How do they determine the amount of funds in the general fund? How does it get in there? And the treasurer said that the treasurer's report describes the transactions that occur, within the general fund. So,
Usually it's called taxes.
yeah, it comes from taxes, yeah, some of it does, and other monies come from other resources, such as your private checkbook. Didn't know that, did you?
Not today, cowboy.
Not today, okay. The second issue, of course, was sidewalks. Some sidewalks, as you know, in Leonard are in disrepair. And the point was made, that they are going to repair these sidewalks. That's part of the issues that they're bringing up and
Right.
have discussed in the past. So you will get them repaired, probably when you're not looking. It'll probably be done. I think they work at night, I'm not sure. But anyway, over there in Leonard, they'll make sure that it gets done at some point.
But summer's here and the workers are out.
It is. Okay, new business, Main Street was there as a representative from Oakland County. His name is John, and he gave a quick presentation. You know, they go from township to village to, various places where there's a Main Street program going on and try to get you accredited, for that program. So, and he's willing to pitch in as the Oakland County has so many times indicated that they would in terms of resources to give you the right path in order to travel to get this job done.
Is this a new thing for Leonard?
It would be a new thing for Leonard, so they have a few things to work on.
Okay.
One of the questions came up is what kind of commercial properties are here in Leonard? And I want to say that the president did say that there are a number of properties that are available in terms of land if you wish to build over in Leonard as a business.
Is this
There's also
strictly-
empty buildings.
Okay, but is this strictly restricted to Elmwood Street itself?
Elmwood and also across the street, which would be Elmwood too. And there's other properties within Leonard,
Right,
that
okay.
could be available as well. So if you're so inclined to go to Leonard and start your business there, the opportunity is there. Just contact again the people at the front office. Okay, new business. One of the issues, as I said, was Main Street. After that was discussed, Pollyant Trail was mentioned that there's going to be a dedication to Larry Albrecht, which, by the way, by the time you folks see this, the dedication will have taken place because it's going to be held Saturday, being today is
Probably
Thursday.
within a stone's throw of the old mill.
No, that's this is the bridge that covers M24, the dedication.
Are we talking
We skipped,
Leonard here?
We already left. Yeah, no, we were talking Leonard, but he wanted to make sure that people were aware that Senator Marlowe
Well, you
was
led
going
me
to do
down
this
a primrose
presentation.
path there.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, folks, on purpose. We did this on purpose. See if he was paying attention.
Nice, nice.
We now know he doesn't pay attention. So I poke
Actually,
him every
I
once in a
do
while.
until you throw a wrench in there.
All right, don't argue. Get back to your notes. Here we go. So the Pollyant Trail, they're going to do that dedication. I think it's well deserved. Larry Albrecht was one of the founders of the
That's
Pollyant
right.
Trail
He-
originally.
He did a tremendous amount of fundraising.
He did. Big monies, from
We're
folks
talking
like
Chrysler here.
yeah, and General Motors too,
Yep.
and various companies like that. So very responsible for you folks enjoying the trail actually to this date. So why not name this overpass bridge, walk bridge, after him? And that's what they're going to do. Okay, Clark Drain, which runs, it's known as the Leonard Drain as such. It's in an emergency situation. It appears that this drain goes underground for some distance before it actually
Emerges.
and the types of pipe that were used were clay pipe, and they were actually installed back in 1920. So you can imagine they're kind of plugged up right now, so they're going to have to be repaired and replaced.
How long a stretch is it?
Probably 600 miles. I mean, no, not that far.
That's a big pipe.
Right, big pipe. I think probably a few hundred feet, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit further. I'm not sure.
Does it go under the road at all?
It goes under the road at a given point. And because it actually spills into Lakeville Lake.
Okay.
So it has to go quite a distance, but it has to also travel underground, which is a problem with this whole pipe.
So is it blocked right now?
It's blocked, and actually the county is involved with this, and Road Commission. You folks will be hearing more about this as it goes along. So speaking about more, we'll talk more about this when we come back, right after this.
Clay.
Welcome back to Minutes by Minute. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
Hey, we are talking about what goes on in the small town of Leonard. Great little place. the Strawberry Festival and all those things we'll talk about later some other date. But right now we just finished talking about the Clark Drain that's going to be worked on. And you folks will be learning more about that, as we move along in various other meetings that we cover. Next thing they want to talk about is mowing equipment. Now, Don Irwin, who's a DPW, Department of Public Works person there, he's been using his own lawnmower to mow grass within the village and along the roadside. And his equipment is kind of getting worn out. And he said he'd like to kind of hang on to his equipment a little longer, and it's maybe high time that the village shook them down and purchased a new
Are we talking a
lawnmower.
walk behind or a tractor?
They're talking about a zero radius mower,
Oh, good
commercial
one.
grade
Oh,
type.
okay.
Okay, so they did have quite a discussion about this on a commercial mower, and there were a couple of estimates they received, and one was set for about $7,700 from Burdick Street. The other one is John Deere Company, and that one was $6,986. So they discussed the cost of these.
That's a big one.
Yeah, the John Deere unit actually has more horsepower than what the unit has. It's called a Skag mower from Burdick Street. It's a 22 horsepower from Skag, 25 horsepower from
Have they checked out Home
John
Depot?
Deere.
Those
Well,
are
I
pretty
think what they do is they get special pricing, municipal purchase pricing.
okay.
And the prices are going to be the same no matter where you buy it for that particular brand. That's just the way it works. So with that, after all was said and done, the decision was made to allow $7,731, which is the max, to purchase a new lawnmower, and allow Don Irwin to decide which lawnmower he wants to go with. And he's the
Okay.
guy that's going to be using it.
Right.
As one guy put it, Don's fanny going to be sitting on this thing. He should make the decision. So that's the way it was left,
So he's making it by the seat of his pants.
by the seat of his pants. So they approved that. It was a good idea. And also what came up is, did you know that May is Mental Health Month? And they need to pass a resolution in Leonard to
in the merry month of May?
in the
It's
merry
May?
month of May. Yeah, that's right. It is the merry month of May. But anyway, not to make fun of it, it's a very serious thing, of course, and so they did pass a resolution.
That's good, because by the time you see this, it won't be May anymore.
No, it won't be May anymore. It'll be June. Pushing July probably could even be. Okay, 2018 road county pavement striping. Okay, the roads need to be striped. An interesting thing is that the county is willing to do it. That's interesting in its own point, but the county is more expensive to do it than it is to hire a subcontractor.
Why is that?
Well, that's what they said. Why is that? They said this on the board. Why is that?
Well, their county employees probably get paid more, have
And-
better benefits.
And get this, the county actually uses the same subcontractor that they would use for less money. You can see the look.
The jury will ignore what I just said.
Right, okay. And the way they get a lower price, of course, is that they do it in conjunction with Oxford Township, Orion Township, and so forth. So you get a better buy. And why is that? I don't know. They're all within Oakland County as a road commission, but that's the way it is. So anyway, so they had quite a discussion about this, and like you said, they said, why is that? So it never was determined why it was, but anyway, they finally made a decision to go ahead and approve hunting for a subcontractor and actually leaving it to the president to decide what direction to go here and bring it back. They did a roll call and everybody approved it, so to go forward with it. And the next thing they did talk about, of course, the chloride subject was taken off the list. Unfinished business, Elmwood project, remember, with the engineers, Rowe Professional Services.
Oh, yeah.
Who retained.
They're used by a lot of townships around
They
here.
are. But the issue that came up here is that they're requesting $1,542 and roughly 25 cents that were allocated, for Rowe Engineering for the project for Elmwood. Well, what happened is that a contractor was hired to do certain work on Elmwood and to do a curb cut. And apparently it was not done very well, and so there was some rework required. And it wasn't the fault of Leonard, you folks over there in Leonard, so there's a cost involved and they said, well, there's an overrun of $3,738, what Rose said, for that portion alone.
So the lowest bidder is not necessarily the cheapest in the end.
No, but the village's position is, whoa, wait a minute. We didn't cause this issue to happen. But McDonald, the president, he said, well, we did make changes somewhat to the requirements, for the construction work. So that portion of it, we need to pick up the cost on. So after quite a lengthy discussion, they decided that instead of $3,738, they would put in $1,346 instead. And they, of course, would pay the amount due that is still outstanding, which was in the amount of $15,542.25, which was in the budget. So that's where they stood on it. And that is where I stand on Leonard.
And there you go.
Right.
And so we now leave the bucolic little town of Leonard and moving on to...
And it's a beautiful little town, by the way. Oxford Area Cable Communications Commission, which you know a thing or two about. You want to talk about the about part?
It was a short meeting.
Thing or two. Short meeting. Well, let's talk about Ed Hunwick, of course, is the chairperson. Shar Sotheby serves on this board as well. And she, of course, is from Leonard. Jacob Newby is the treasurer. He's from Aston Township as a representative. And you have Maureen Helmuth, who's the secretary, and she's a representative from Oxford Village. And then you have Bill Dunn, who's the supervisor of Oxford Township, and he serves on this board as well. And the station manager, William Service, was there. And of course, yours truly, David Kenny, was there.
Hello.
Everybody was present. Good thing. Didn't have to chase after you this time with the ambulance. Okay, respect to our flag and agenda was approved. They added in new business an area called meetings. And that was something that Ed Hunwick asked for, and that would be at the tail end of this meeting. Public comments, not on agenda. None. Okay, so no comments. Minutes for January 22nd, 2018 were approved. Minutes for April 30th also, 2018 were approved as well. See, we're moving along pretty good on this.
Yeah, the
one,
January minutes were a correction.
It was a correction, I think. It was, right. You know about that. What
Yeah.
kind of correction was it? Do you recall?
No.
Okay. Well, we'll pass that one up.
It was a minor correction, but it was a correction.
Nothing
nonetheless.
serious. Okay. Bill review. I don't mean bill service. Maureen questioned magazine renewals. What are you doing buying magazines?
Well,
What's Playboy doing?
we have subscriptions to a couple of magazines we use as sources for our Science in the News and our Auto Talk, which is part of the Oxford News This Week.
All scientific stuff. I mean, if you get past all the little tiny words, and you're all set.
Yeah.
I mean, little tiny words about this long, right?
Yeah.
This guy knows them all. So anyway, he's got it down to a science. That's why he calls it science.
Oh, good Lord.
Bills for 4/16, 2018 through 5/14, 2018, in the amount of $31,512.56. Did you know that? You knew that.
Yes, I
You're
did.
the ones that gave them the numbers, probably. You're the one, right?
Yep, I
You-
was the
you're
one. I was the one.
I thought so. Okay, so they approved through roll call. Year-to-date revenue and expense report, and also the distribution report for April 2015 was approved. And unfinished business, OCTV handbook. Oh, there we are, the handbook again. Remember that good old
Yeah, good old handbook.
the handbook? Raise your hand for the handbook. Okay, everybody's saying, well, where's the handbook now? Where do we stand on the handbook? You folks will find out when we come back right after this.
Canine Stray Rescue is Oxford's own local dog rescue. Call them at 248-628-0435 or go to their website dogsaver.org and click on the Canine Stray Rescue League link.
Welcome back to Minutes by Minute. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
And we are talking about the Oxford Community.
Oxford Area Cable Communications Commission.
Okay.
Jeez.
Just want to see if he was still awake. You know, at the beginning
Right.
of this thing, he was not. Okay. So, anyway, so we're going to go forward with it. And we are now talking about what?
What, you forgot already?
No, I can tell you weren't listening to that part of it either. But we were talking about the handbook, okay? And the handbook, of course, has gone through a lot of different plateaus at this point, or issues. It now is in the possession of Bob Davis, who's the attorney. But before
Right.
that, it was in the possession of the treasurer from Addison Township,
Right. And there
Lori
were-
Fisher.
Right, right.
And apparently her computer crashed. There's a lot of history here.
Yeah, there was a loss and there was a recovery, and then
Then there was a loss and another recovery. And then there was a recovery and whoops, we forgot the loss.
never-ending story.
It never ending. It goes on forever. But anyway, William Dunn charges in his white horse and he says, "Whoa, horsey." He says, "We're going to do something here." He said, "We have, in the township, we have an HR, human
Yeah.
relations."
They've outsourced an HR firm, yes.
They are. And he said, if you give me what information you have so far, I will turn it over to them and try to get an estimate as to what it'll cost to have the HR do it,
Yep.
instead of running it through the
Right.
attorney's office.
Right, and I think Maureen offered to get the handbook that's in possession of Mr.
Yep.
Davis over to the township.
She did. Maureen Helmo, she says, "I'll get that book." And if she says she's going to get something, she'll get it. Okay. So anyway, so that will end up in the township, and of course, an estimate will be given probably for the next meeting, more likely,
Right.
what it will cost. But looks like we're on the happy trail again.
Yep.
All right, we'll see what happens in the never-ending. Where is the handbook?
Well, the problem with the handbook is it's been in and out for so long that things have changed.
Well, people.
So an HR firm is probably more up to date on all the necessities that need to be in an employee handbook.
A number of people here have died of old age. I mean, before they even get to see it, to understand that what they're doing is supposed to be what they're doing. Okay. New facilities update report. William Dunn, the service manager, or
That's Bill Service.
Bill Service, station manager, William Service, that guy. The guy that runs it, the great kahuna is what I call him.
Our service manager.
Right. Anyway, he is the guy who is kind of running over this thing and providing information to the architect. The architect, of course, is making all these drawings at a nickel a copy. And Ron Davis and Ed Hunwick have noted that they will be giving a presentation before the Township Board of Trustees on June 13th at their meeting to sew up the financial requirements. And so you folks want to attend that meeting if you're interested in seeing what goes on there. That's June 13th. Good thing it's not a Friday.
That's
I
right.
wouldn't recommend it. June 13th.
Our new happy home
Happy home.
is, I can see the light at the end of
You
the
see
tunnel.
yeah, it's coming. It is. Don't go into the light. Anyway, medical insurance was an issue also for Terry Stiles, and discussion was made with that, and it was approved. So Terry is all set and ready to go. There's some issues there that she needed to be taken care of. And Drew Benson, a letter withdrawing from community engagement projects.
He was going to do a survey and
How'd that work out?
didn't,
And that's why he resigned from it, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
He's involved in a number of other projects too. And one of the projects he's working on right now is a website, for Oxford Village and the DDA. And I believe the police department will be probably part of that as well. And that's been an issue going on for some time. And by the way, the people on this web committee is Nancy Rosenstrater, who is the vice president of Oxford Bank. And then you got Elgin Nichols on that board, and Eric Dolan, who's a village councilman, and Joe Frost serving on that particular committee. Also, you're going to find Glenn Pape, who is the DDA director, and Joel Madur, who is, of course, the village manager on that.
And I'm sure that committee will weave a very nice web.
Yep, and Drew Benson, of course, will be on there too. Pretty sharp young man. So anyway, that being said, and I did want to mention too, I think I named, instead of Nancy Rosenstrater as the person on this board, I named Sue Olson instead, or Sue Oles, last time we had this discussion. So I just want to clear the record here. You didn't call me on that one. You should have.
No, I'll just let you go downhill.
Yeah, you did. You did let me do that. Okay. So anyway, Oakland County Investment Pool also was received and filed. Do you know anything about that?
Well, it's just the township puts it into a nice little investment pool in the county.
They splash around in there?
In the county, and it gives us a better rate of return than other investments.
Okay. When they get through splashing in the pool, they get out?
Yes, they do.
Okay, that's the way it works. New business. New schedule was part of the new business. And what is the issue with the schedule?
Well, our original schedule that we've had for the last few years has been basically once a month. At this meeting, they determined that it now should be quarterly.
Oh,
So our next meeting will be in August, and the meeting after that will be in November.
well, who's going to pay the bills in the meantime?
I will,
You're going to pay all the bills?
not personally.
Or is
I'll
that
pass it on.
is that in the pool or out of the pool?
It'll just be a much bigger approval, that's all.
I see. Well, anyway, excuse me, we have to pay for the lights and all the things that go on here day to day. And the employees would get a little hot if they didn't get paid, probably. And they would knock on your door.
And you coming in with a little sheet of paper, I need one of these.
I do a lot of ordering for technical equipment here. That's why this guy is always,
He does a lot of wishing for I do the ordering.
he does the ordering. Yes, he does. And does a great job, I want to add there too. Well, what I want to ask, talking about great jobs, what's coming up?
Well, we do have a lot of meetings coming up on 6/11 at 7 o'clock. The Oxford Township Zoning Board of Appeals, check on that. Sometimes they cancel. And at 7 o'clock, the Village of Leonard Council will be meeting. And on 6/12 at 6:30, the Village of Oxford Council will be meeting. And at 6 o'clock, the Addison Township Planning Commission. On 6/13 at 7 o'clock, the Oxford Township Board of Trustees. And on 6/14 at 7 o'clock, the Oxford Township Planning Commission. And finally, at 6 o'clock, the Addison Township Zoning Board of Appeals. Once again, check on it. Sometimes they cancel.
We have a lot of meetings coming up, huh?
Yeah, well, it's the core of the month.
It is. That's what it is. And as we pointed out before, if you don't attend these meetings, catch it right here. Yeah, I mean, you'll learn a lot of what goes on in your community concerning these government officials and so forth.
And some of it may surprise you.
Yeah, you can just go to YouTube or you can go to OCCTV.org.
Yep.
And we do. Click on.
Click on Programs, and everything is in reverse date order, or you can slice and dice and specify a particular subject category.
Now, there's a number of things that you folks will already seen go by coming up this weekend. And one of them is the Mudders. Is this weekend?
Oh, the Tough Mudder.
Tough Mudders. Yeah. Hello, Mudda. Hello, Fada. No, Muddas. So anyway, they're going to be there. And that's going to be an interesting thing. And also, they have lacrosse this weekend.
Oh, that's
Tournaments.
right.
And that's at Seymour Lake Park.
Multiple teams.
Right. And of course, the dedication that we talked about earlier. So lots of things going on. Next week, we'll talk about what happened. Hopefully, the Oxford Bridge won't fall down.
No.
We'll be all set. Until then, I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
Catch you next time right here on Minutes by Minute.
See you then. Okay.